Hey, good morning and welcome to this podcast, Built and Not Hustled, where we go in deep into understanding ways in which small, medium, large businesses in Africa, run by Africans and for different people within the continent, even in the diaspora, they can use to ensure that their businesses not only thrive but actually succeed. Today in our first episode, we're going to be looking at a topic that I find very, very interesting. It's called the cost of indecision. So most people who are running small businesses, they literally understand the cost of making a decision. Because what you have to know is that as a business owner, as someone who's running your business, there are always things that are happening. You're going to have a situation where you may need to get more sales, and you may either have to hire a salesperson who may cost you a certain amount of money, or you may have to allocate resources to something like generating leads and ads. And it's very easy to understand that if I invest $100, then this is what I expect. But very few people actually go down into understanding that every single time you are presented with an opportunity to move forward in your business, there are two costs. There is the cost of actually going ahead with the idea that you have, but then there is also a cost of stepping back. There is a cost that is there for that person who is seated in the cubicle, who is at home, and they have this business idea for 2 years, and they have decided not to go for it. That is the cost of indecision. There is a cost to hustling like a warrior, going through your business, being the chief bottle washer, the person who takes orders, the person who does deliveries, the person who is the CEO, the COO, the chief marketing, the bottle washer and everything, and refusing to implement systems inside your business. There is a cost to not doing anything. And sometimes the cost of indecision is the tax that is going to actually kill your business. There is a gentleman that used to be an askari at a workplace that the place where we used to have our offices at, and legend has it that he had been in that place since he was 35 years old. When I met him, he was much closer to 78. And he worked tirelessly. He was the person who was helping us park the cars. He's the guy who was painting the walls. He was the person who was helping us carry things. And he was a grumpy old man. Eventually, when COVID came, Peter Brown died. But this is a man who had dreams throughout his life. He had dreams to do something for himself. But indecision seemed cheap at the time, but ultimately he is a man who went to the grave without realizing any of his dreams. So even though you find yourself inside your business, even though you find yourself inside your place of employment, or you find yourself in a situation where you want to move forward, you want to take your business from the place that it is, you want to go from the situation where everything is being done manually to a place where you can automatically run things are running without you. But the biggest challenge is not even what it's going to cost you in terms of monetary value, because we think that the monetary value is the biggest cost that you can have. We think that being there and not being able to afford the system, for example, to afford the consultant, is the biggest challenge. But the biggest challenge usually is actually that feeling that you get after years of being drained by your business, after years of being in the same position time and time again, after years of this Christmas coming and you saying that this year is my year, but you very well know on a subconscious level that this year is going to end and it's going to be exactly as the year before. That is the true tax of indecision. And usually it comes from, it could come in the morning where you feel tired, you feel burnt out, you feel like you cannot move further anymore. And you may be talking to your wife, you may be talking to your brother, and you say that today I just don't feel like working. Today I just don't feel like going to my business. Today I just don't feel like going to work. And your partner will tell you that, you know what, if you don't go, who will pay the bills? Because you very well know that the fact that you have created this culture, which is very popular in African cultures, where we glorify warriors, we glorify hustlers, where without you the business cannot run. Without you, that document in office cannot be sent. The true cost is that if you do not work, if you do not continue hustling, your business will die. And eventually when the burnout comes, it is when you realize that actually you are more of a slave to the thing that you glorified. When retirement comes, you try to find purpose outside of your work. It's the cost of indecision. But if you flip the mindset, if you flip the way it is, if you actually looked at your fears straight in the eye and understood the cost, you would realize that the cost of making the decision is often much less than the cost of indecision. The cost of starting a business the right way, setting up systems, committing to a path that seems difficult to the ordinary person is actually much less than the cost of doing nothing. Both in the medium and long run. In the short term, there is pain. But if business owners in Africa can grasp this, they can grasp that even when they decide not to do things properly, there is a cost. Even when they decide not to go through what they call the SOPs, there is a cost. Then we will be better placed to create much stronger and longer lasting businesses. Thank you so much. I hope this has hit a nerve, and we shall be going much deeper into how these decisions, how the decisions that moving forward can actually be implemented practically in each one of our businesses. I hope you have a good day and see you on the next episode.